Just as the protests are unlikely to change Netanyahu's belligerence, so too the decision taken by Lammy to block 30 licenses from the range of items, including components for military aircraft, on Monday. He's said that it won't hit Israeli security, but nevertheless, and Netanyahu has gone on to Twitter to say, days after Hamas executed 6 Israeli hostages, the UK government suspended 30 arms licenses to Israel. This shameful decision will not change Israel's determination to defeat Hamas, a genocidal terrorist organization that has savagely murdered 1,200 people on October the 7th, including 14 British citizens. Well, I think, as indeed John Healey, the UK Defence Secretary, has said that the move would not have a material impact on Israel's security, and that Britain would remain a staunch ally of Israel. But he goes on, this is not about making a political gesture, this is about following the rule of law. And that requires the government to review the licenses which must be involved, and not turn a blind eye to the ways in which these licenses send on equipment that can be used then in the siege of Gaza. Yoav Gallant has said that he was deeply disheartened to learn of the sanctions placed by the UK government on export licenses to Israel's defence establishment. I don't believe they are sanctions. These are licenses that haven't been approved. The chief rabbi, Sir Ephraim Mervis, has said it beggars belief that the British government, a close strategic ally of Israel, has announced a partial suspension of arms licenses at a time when Israel is fighting a war for its very survival on 7 fronts. Yes, I agree. But the problem is it's chosen specifically to savage one particular community. And I'm afraid it's only going to get worse, because when and if Israel comes to terms with the community in Gaza, it still faces threats from Hezbollah and from Iran. And this is stirring the hornet's nest. I think the suspension of arms licenses is tokenism, because there's about 350 UK arms export licenses to Israel at the moment, and to lose 30 is small fry. And the particularly impacting the F-35, which is described by the Human Rights Watch as a workhorse of Israel's brutal bombing campaign on Gaza. But and certainly in just suspending 30 licenses, the UK still remains complicit in the attack on Gaza. It doesn't absolve us of responsibility. What we actually need to do is, rather than playing these games about statistics and trying to whitewash the issue with a bit of mathematical skullduggery, which helps neither side. It just makes us feel good. We should be actively engaging in promoting a peace deal, which would see a 2-state or even a 1-state solution that is workable and that is looking towards the future, rather than simply stopping at a ceasefire. A ceasefire is simply a pause in hostility. It's not something anybody should be looking forward to. It should be part of a process. A ceasefire is not a goal. A ceasefire is part of the movement towards that goal. That goal has to be peace, and neighbourly cooperation. And we should be involved in pushing towards that rather than sort of nonsense of playing around with a token of export licenses and saying at the same time we support Israel's right to defence. Well, if we're going to withdraw some of the weapons, then clearly that is a questionable. Our words, our commitment is questionable. We shouldn't be playing around with rhetoric. We should be playing around with helping to establish peace. Now, that may be about recognising the existence formally of the state of Palestine. I think that would be a better approach than playing around with export licenses.